All right, we are recording now, and I will begin in three, two. Matthew LeCroy, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. How you
And
doing,
is it
Nathan?
LeCroy or LeCroy? How do you pronounce your name?
I say it LeCroy.
LeCroy. Okay.
Yeah,
I think I emphasized that LeCroy a little bit.
LeCroy. I'll still respond to it, I guess.
Well, man, welcome to JoeFest Live. We are happy to have you here today and to talk about Strikeforce Alpha. And basically, you are Strikeforce Alpha. Is that correct?
It's me and my partner, Jason Schiermeyer.
Gotcha.
So we're 50-50 on it. We became friends a few years ago and wanted to develop our own O-ring kind of universe, our own
Okay.
intellectual property with original characters and things.
So tell us exactly how did that get started?
Well, it got started like I said, a few years back. It's probably been like close to 4 years now. We
Okay.
had just been bouncing ideas off of each other, and character development happened that way. We came up with a general theme, what we wanted, and things like that, like incorporating the sci-fi elements of O-ring style figures. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So we just kind of bounced off each other, and I'd come up with an idea or something. Jason, what do you think, man? And he's like, yeah, that's all right. But then when something stuck, we'd be like, oh yeah, we got to work on this guy and flesh it out,
Right.
develop it that way.
Now, is there any type of storyline or aspect to a story to Strikeforce Alpha?
There is a storyline to it, and it happens in the not so distant future of 2040. But
Okay.
we have one comic book that we have produced. We are going to expand and continue the story behind Strike Force, but we've got that one issue out right now. Probably have some more of them at Joe Fest this summer.
When was the first issue launched?
It was launched, I want to say Joe Fest 2021. So
Okay.
a couple of Joe Fests back, way
Gotcha.
before we got figures in production and everything.
Okay. So tell us now. This is all O-ring based. Is that clear?
That's clear.
All
Yep,
right.
that's
So
clear.
nothing in the modern version is nothing like major articulation. This is the standard
Well,
articulation.
Well, a lot of folks have been saying, and I kind of agree with this, it's kind of like a bridge between O-ring style and the modern 4-inch style with the poppable heads, and the swappable arms and things like that.
Right.
So there is actually added articulation as well in the hips,
Okay.
and because of the boot point there, it adds where you can kind of turn out the feet. They don't have to just be positioned straight forward and things like
Gotcha. But now, are they basically they have the hole in the foot so that they you can stand them with a peg just like traditional Joes?
that. Exactly. Yep.
Okay. And these are
Same
meant to
diameter and
kind
everything.
of fit within that. It's like an expounded Joe Force universe.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right. Now we are in a world that is post O-ring in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I'm someone that actually enjoys the O-ring saga, the storyline, that
Mhm.
actual build. I mean, I've got O-rings behind me. That's my favorite. So you actually used a phrase recently this that you believe that we are in a renaissance of the O-ring era. What did you mean by that?
That's exactly right. I do mean there is a rebirth of the O-ring. And Ken Poe, our friend from uh, Delta 17 as well, has coined that phrase. So it is an O-ring renaissance in a sense of a rebirth. Everything goes in cycles, and obviously the community has been hungry for something fresh
Right.
as O-rings go. And you're going to see we're leading the charge with the O-rings, but you're going to see a lot more of these lines starting to be released,
Right.
including like Delta 17, call sign Longbow. You've got the one Carson's doing. there's so many that are about to be on the forefront. So
And we're actually looking at some pictures that you've sent. Fantastic detail. Are you still doing an injection mold for these pieces?
yes,
So this
yep,
is all built basically the way that it was originally built back in the 80s, other than some additional articulation, correct?
correct, yep. And with
And
the first,
you with
oh,
that,
sorry,
go ahead with that articulation and with that sculpt. So you like I'm looking here at some movie icons that you've actually already done as well, and these have fantastic, like they go beyond the detail that was developed in the 80s and the 90s. You actually have some strong detail features in these. How are you getting to, like I see one with here with it looks like Mike Tyson, and the
yeah.
detail on it is superb. How are you getting that?
So like I can't exactly see what you're looking at right now, Nathan,
Right.
but as far as like the icons of the 80s go, I have to think like 3D sculptors like Bobby Vance and Rodney Green, folks like that that have done these sculpts of say Mike Tyson or Mr. T.
Gotcha.
You know, that is 50% of the battle right there because these guys are creating these beautiful head sculpts, and I just kind of paint them and bash the bodies around,
Right.
like like here lately I'm not doing a whole lot of sculpting,
Mm-hmm.
although Strike Force Alpha Wave 1 I sculpted like about 80% of it.
Gotcha.
So it was all hand sculpted, and I guess it kind of like burned me out on that for a while. It was so hard to do, but
Right.
you know
I remember Carson, I think last year, kind of unveiled the process of how an O-ring was developed back in the 80s, and like you said,
mhm.
Carson's kind of doing that on his with his brand. He's really going with
Yeah,
the original styling, and it seems like Strikeforce Alpha is on the same process here.
yeah, it was on the same process, but Carson's getting like Bill Merkline to sculpt on the two up, the
Right.
larger
And
figure.
we saw some examples, pictures of some two ups here.
And they look amazing. I love Bill Merkline. He's my hero.
Right.
So, but yeah, ultimately though, my sculpts had to be scanned in as well
Okay.
for the
So you're
factory.
using some 3D technology with a lot of this.
Yes.
Now, is this, you said it is injection mold, but is it also any type of 3D printing incorporated in any of this?
Not in the factory produced figures. They're all
Okay.
molded injected.
All right. Do you see, like, what do you think about this 3D concept versus injection mold? How do you see this working out?
I don't know much about it, to be honest with you, as far as the 3D aspect of it goes.
Okay.
I've I've seen that, they're able to print in the appropriate colors and everything like that,
Right.
as well as even painted details. So I'm not a fan of that because that would put me out of a job. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
I mean,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't think you've got anything to worry about. The pictures kind of speak for themselves. There is a aspect of passion that really kind of demonstrates through the work that we're looking at here. A lot of
That's
these
it.
pieces that they really do exude something. Honestly, it goes beyond what was developed in the 80s because there's a lot more information being placed on the character so that you see a lot more characteristics, a lot more, and there are like pop out hands, so I'm seeing a little bit more about this articulation, and you are kind of expanding with the GI Joe storyline with Cobra Commander. I once was a man figure, and pieces like that as well. Tell us a little bit more about like what drives that passion for you. How did you get started in the hobby?
Oh wow. I mean,
That's a big question.
if you want to go way back, it all comes to I'm sure the same way with you when you were a kid, you got a screwdriver and started taking these things apart.
Yep.
Found that O-ring inside and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. I want to put a gung-ho body on this guy or something.
Yeah.
So that is the root. That's where it all started. And I'm just a big kid that's finally uh, somehow lucked into this.
Right.
So I just have such a passion for it. Like you said, Nathan, I just want to see the O-rings thrive again.
Well, you've got a strong. You said you've been here with until 2021 was your launch, And how many pieces have you developed? I mean, you sent me a nice sized library of pieces here.
Yeah, those most of those I sent you were some of my one-off customs and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
kind of showcase what I do. But as far as the Strike Force figures go, we don't have as many. I think you're going to show probably some of the Wave Two that we have paint masters for right
Right.
now.
So you do have a limited. I would claim this as a limited, or would this be an ultra limited production run for Strike Force Alpha?
The production run is not ultra limited. I mean, I think we're going to be able to supply and provide to anyone who's interested in these. Um, there's things like we discussed earlier about the JoeFest exclusive. Now that's going to be limited because I
Right.
will have to take existing parts and do some coatings on them.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have some information that we do want to unveil. This is the first place I believe it's been announced, but you do have some information about a JoeFest exclusive, don't you?
I sure do.
All right. Well, what
Yep,
is that all about? Now, this is coming 2024 to Augusta, Georgia, correct?
that is correct,
All right.
sir.
Let us know what this is all about.
Okay, this is kind of a funny story, and this didn't come about. It hasn't been that long since it came about. I was kind of, thinking around, what am I going to do for Joe Fest this year?
Right.
And I've got a friend, Gabriel Mangum. He's a great comic book artist. I'm a huge fan of him. I would suggest you check out his work. But he approached me a few weeks ago and he said, "Hey, Matt, would you make me a custom of this character? I want to call him Sidewinder." And I was like, "Of course. Yeah, sure." I was like, "That name Sidewinder, I've been bouncing around with that name."
Hmm.
And it's kind of ironic because it was almost like it was meant to be because we kind of had the same vision because of the parts that are available with Strike Force.
Mm-hmm.
This character is just screaming to be made. You know what I mean? So
Well, I'm going to show the pictures here. So I believe this is the first time that anybody's ever seen these pictures?
it is. It
Okay.
is.
So here they are. This is Sidewinder. This is the comic book piece that you received, and then here comes the picture for the act. Here it is, the actual exclusive coming to Joe Fest 2024, June 21st through 23rd in Augusta, Georgia. You're seeing it here for the first time. And how much are you able to tell us about, like, production run or any type of details about this guy?
Yeah. Production run is going to be very limited, but it's going to be at least 30 of them. What
Okay.
I'm going to do is if I can get more done between now and then, I will. But expect at least 30 of them.
All right, so I would definitely deem that an ultra exclusive. So if anybody's interested, now this is being filmed in January 2024. So we still have about 4 or 5 months, 6 months until 2024. But definitely be on the lookout from Strike Force Alpha for this exclusive, only going to be available at Joe Fest 2024. And I would actually go so far as to say this guy probably is only going to be available for the first 30 minutes of Friday night or maybe Saturday morning, depending on how you guys actually release him.
Yeah.
I don't think this guy's going to stay around the floor long.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is release it Saturday morning.
Okay, good.
That way,
All right,
get
so Saturday
better
morning
stock.
release. So if you definitely want to get this exclusive from Strike Force Alpha Saturday morning, and I believe that will be June 22nd, 2024. Make sure that you're at the gate for as early as possible. Man, I'm super excited about this guy. I'm seeing a lot more news about Joe Fest than I've ever seen. And I know that Strike Force has been there for a number of years, and the way that you guys have grown, the library that you're developing, you are really. I think the renaissance of O-Ring, I think that matches perfectly with what has happened to Strike Force Alpha and what's actually happened here with Joe Fest and what's up and coming. It's pretty excited, I believe.
It's very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited. I'm really happy to be a part of it. I'm just a small part in this renaissance. Like I said, there's several lines coming out, and it's really cool.
It is. It's really cool. So I appreciate you here today, and I'm telling you, I believe that Sidewinder is going to be a massive knockout. I would love to get one myself, but I know that I've got to kind of give everybody a chance on that. So,
Yeah.
but I'm going to be fighting for one. That's for sure.
Right.
All right,
Awesome.
all right,
Awesome.
Matt. Thanks for being here today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.